Good morning, everybody. Let's do it. So we're just gonna wait for the number, and then as soon as it comes out, let's get our little British guy up here, and we'll get to it. There was so much information this morning; it's crazy. I'll try to get the camera working so we can bond in a moment. But right now, I just have to get some other things up and running. Let's get that little British guy going, and then we'll go from there because that's going to be really helpful. If we can get him up and running, and it seems like he's down. Maybe they're so busy, but they're having a hard time loading in right now. Let's get him. Come on, little guy. Let's see if we can get that going. Month over month's high. So month over month's high. Yeah. Oh, that's a hot number too. They're going to cut rates. Yeah, you're definitely going to cut rates. That labor market number is going to freak them out. The CPI number is definitely going to freak them out. So what we can do here, let's do it this way so that you can see it, and then we'll go. Okay, and let's go to this, and then we'll go right here where we're learning this end. Well, I want to hear what the super core is too, but your what do you call it, names?
Noting a prior revision for jobless claims revised down slightly to 236K from 237K.
This number is going to freak everybody out. Everybody. So hands like that's way higher than it should be. The CPI forecast 31.4 versus the forecast month over month. That means it's actually creeping up month over month. Forecast 2.9. So those numbers are going to freak people out, hands down. There's no doubt about it. That's a bad number. That's a really bad number on the jobless claims. That actually might take the lead. Let's go take a look at what the ES is doing here and seeing how this goes. And then we can go from there. But that's a super bad number. So well, I think if you think about what. All right. Let me just go and see this. Okay, so let's go take a look at this too. Oh, you can just see what's happening here with it. So I'll put this in. Hold on. You can see it. I'll just grab it from the BLS. Well, I grabbed this from them, but it's from the BLS. So if you look at this, you can see this is all items. This is June, July, August. So you can see what we're doing. So what happened here is all that liberation and winning, and now we're paying for it. So yeah, I don't know how this is going to play out today. I'll tell you what I think happens the most is I think it's going to be these names because I think what. Yeah, that makes sense. What do you call it? The jobless claims is going to freak everybody out. Jobless claims is going to totally freak everybody out. It's the thing that stood out the most. Even CPI being hot like that, the jobless claims coming in at 260. That means more people are losing their jobs than expected, and that's going to be like that's a big freaking deal. So that's like the hottest number that you've had since the pandemic. Here, I'll show you this so that you can see what the real issue is here. So I thought it'd be CPI, but this is really going to take center stage. Here, let me show you this. So this is super important. So this is 3 years initial jobless claims. You see that number right there? So Supercore, they left alone. Okay. See this number right here? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense now. They're going to cut. They're going to cut big time. So these names like Open should move on this, but they're not. They're selling off. What's OPAD doing? Okay. All right. And just get into this. And then the other thing that I would say is that this is definitely going to be the bone of contention with the jobs, because they're losing jobs. I mean, you haven't had anything like this since the pandemic. You'd have to go all the way back to the pandemic to find anything even remotely like this. So it's not great. That's going to be the problem. That's going to take center stage, hands down. So I'd watch the interest rate plays. I'm really interested why Nail's not moving and why these names aren't moving, but that just means more for me. I can't believe that's all factored in. Gold will rocket because gold makes sense, because you're going to buy gold because you're going to think about it and go, but that's the fib level right there. So you want to watch that too. You know, the thing about gold is, all right, I'll come back to them. They do a good job, actually. They do a really good job. That's actually a really inexpensive service too. Hold on one second. I'll try to buy. That might have worked. Let me see if I got it. Yay. Oh, you can't see it. I can just say it. That's not helpful. I know what I look like. Yay, bonding. That's really a problem. Okay, that's exhausting. But that's definitely going to be something that's going to be on everyone's radar. Let's look at TLT. So that's going to probably be gone. I'm really surprised that the nail and the DPST and the stuff's not like just ripping, that it's actually weak. You know, it could be because they think of recession. What happened to the XLY? Did the XLY or XRT drop? Or are they not even showing that yet? How about Amazon? Maybe we could use Amazon as a proxy, or Walmart. It's not the best proxy, is it? Let's go see if we can find out what Walmart did on it. I don't know. It's interesting. You would think. It's really surprised none of that's moving. Like none of that's moving at all. Let's go take a look again. There goes Rocket. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense, but I don't understand some of the other stuff. Let's go take a look at Lending Tree. Okay. LDI. All right, that makes sense too. So I don't know. I would have thought you would have got more of a move. What did the 10-year do? Yeah. I mean, you're going to break 4. You're going a lot lower on rates, like a lot lower. I don't know that all that's factored in, guys. I really don't. I think that these people have been doing an awful job at telling you what's been factored in lately. So we'll see how it goes. Let's go take a look at the ES, look for our levels, and start setting up on the day. Time to make the donuts. Let's start over. And we'll go to a bear chart. Let's go look at a 5. So it's really going to be that's really going to freak people out, though. Let's move that over there and go from there. There are your levels. You seem to be holding it right now, right? That's 65, 62.50, 65, 555, 65, 40, 75, 65, 35, 50. I mean, you're not, you're still in that same range that you were from PPI, essentially. Here's the open of the PPI bar. You're not really breaking it. That's why I always tell people to mark this stuff off. You haven't really broke it. You went through it and you're just sitting there. So if you start to break that, that could definitely be an issue, but you're not really doing that. So the question becomes, do people become concerned about it? And that's really like your big levels. Because the question is, do you really become concerned about it if you know they're going to cut rates? Because if he doesn't cut rates, he's going to have real problems. But he knows he's behind now. He's got to know he's behind now. I mean, good Lord, if you can't figure that out, man, I don't know what to tell you. And I do think he'll blame it on and let's go back to this one as well. So if we look at both of those, we can see pretty clearly that the ES is holding up better than the NASDAQ on all this. And you are diversifying out, that's for sure. There's the open and the low. Let's mark that off to there so that we have that marked off. And we'll go see if that's registering anywhere. It's not. You ran through it right like butter. So I'd watch the retest of that area right here, that 23,933. And then you're going to want to see if you're able to get through that or not. Like, can you get through that area? Because if not, then that's telling you everything you want to know. That means the people that bought the PPI are changing their mind. So you're going to want to watch that area really closely and see what they do there. The wick gives me hope, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. As far as news, let's just see. What is it? 41. Let's take a bunch of questions today. What's up, John? So yeah, when the bond market dropped, I mean, for me, I think the interest rate trade's the way to go. I really think the way to go here is the interest rate trade. So I think that makes the most sense. I'm really surprised that some of this stuff's not moving way more. I mean, I'm watching Rocket finally go. It's about freaking time. But this makes no sense to me why you're not up like a lot more. So, but I mean, it does make sense how this thing just, is exploding up 100% from April, May. Now that we know they're going to start cutting rates, and this should grind higher, but I'm just surprised it's not up way more than this. But we'll see what happens here with it. I do own it. So, go for it. But Clar, I mean, this thing's just like, it's a 20-year-old company that finally went public. Like, the only thing that I would do with it, what did it price at? 40? This is just such a dump. But I would make sure that it holds 40 before I even thought about it. I mean, if you can't hold 40, that means you're just going to walk away from it. So this kind of stuff, I'll put an alert down there, but there's no way in the world that I would ever buy an IPO like that. Like, here's my open, you ran me up, you got everybody giddy, and then you just dumped it. Realistically, what you even do with these things, if you can find a borrow, is you just short it on a certain size and you just use the high as your stop. That's really what you do with these things, because hands down, you're going to wind up dropping down to this level. At least you're going to test this. But if you can pull this off, this is something you might be able to be short for like ever, until next earnings. It reminds me a lot, when I see this stuff, it reminds me a lot of like Rivian. Like they think the market's so hot for it right now, right? And then they go into it, and then the market's not really that hot for it at all. They're very similar to a firm, right? So the other thing that you tend to see with these is that I'm pretty sure that they do the same kind of business, right? Klarna and this firm. So what you tend to see with this is a firm or like this usually comes down just as hard. And so you can actually see the reversal that day. And I think there might be something to that. I'm also the UPST, all of them. I don't know if that's from the interest rate yesterday or not. I have an echo. I don't know if that's going to be on the interest rate side or not, but I definitely think that that's worth going over and looking at. I would totally short this. Like I was thinking about this, honestly, to be honest, like shorting this. I just think it's such an easy short. The insiders of this and the people that created the book have to hold 40. I don't know that they're going to hold 40 with all the people that are in here and all that pressure going through that. Because like if you measure this move down, you should be going through 40 like butter. That's kind of how I see it. But there I go again thinking. What else you got? CBRL. Yeah, so this is where it gets super interesting. So like things like CBRL, for example. I don't know that you have to get involved. Like this is going to be really bad, right? So why not just wait for it to be the dumpster fire quarter and then pick it up? That's kind of how I see it. They have a new, they got their logo back. They didn't get their logo, like people are just like, I'm not going to this place. And so you're going to have a bad quarter of earnings because of this. So I think that the people that are going to buy it are going to say, let the quarter flush, let them give crap guidance. And then they're going to go back to the way things were. And then next quarter is going to be better. That's where my head is with it. So I would imagine it gets smoked, but I don't know that it stays smoked long. But that's what I think happens there. I don't know what they were thinking. Who knows? I didn't think the logo change was that big of an idea, but I mean, if you can't go there and get what you want, it's going to be a problem. Like you got to go there and be able to get biscuits and gravy and all that, stuff. Look, if you can't get that, like, what do you have? Like, you got to be able to go there and get your heart attack. Like, it's just what you do there. It's awesome food, I think. Like there's not one around here. Oh, someone said Pembroke Primes, but I used to go to the ones up in the Northeast all the time. If you want to eat that way, get your dumplings and everything else. But I don't know. If you start changing that to like, a parfait, people are going to be like, bro, what are you doing? That's not what you get at this place. They should really be doubling down on what they are. BA. Yeah, I mean, it's really a dollar trade today, Cav. But I don't really see any reason to change my opinion on it today. It's still got selling, straight up selling. Lumen. Yeah, I don't know enough about the story. Clearly, you're turning up. I probably should learn this story. Because see the volume and how the volume's been picking up ever since that earnings. It was like, thank God this is behind us. Let's go. Right? Like that's really what that move is. Thank God this is over. Let's start going higher. And now you're just rocking and rolling. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's definitely of interest to me. And it's certainly something that I would be paying attention to and want to be paying attention to it. For sure. So what else do we have? Lumen, AVGO, Vimo. AVGO, there's not much to say. Like you're either going to own it or you're not. I mean, we've been talking about the stock for years. Like just forget you own it. Like there's just certain names you just need to own at this point. Like if you're thinking long-term from a trade, like the majority's out, but whether it goes to 280 or 370, like this is going to be one of those names in 5 years. If you don't own, you're going to wonder what you were doing. AVGO, Lumen, VMEO, I don't have on my list, so we'll do that. I don't know why you're up. Did you get bought finally? I know there was talk of it. Let's go take a look. Maybe there's that news. Maybe VMEO. Is that what was happening? Agrees to be acquired by Bending Spoons, all cash, valued at 1.3. So is that 1.3? Is that where it is? 785, all cash deal. As of market close. So yep, that's a done deal. So I mean, I don't know why I would buy that there. This kind of stuff I'll buy when it like breaks down. So like when it starts to move. So like SHCO is a great example of this. So like when this will break down to like 74, 75 again, if it does, I'll buy it because I'll make more on that than a money market account. Like same thing I do with this, like set this up. If it for some reason, dropped to 7 because somebody wanted out one day, I'd have a stock out there to pick it up to get involved with it, that kind of thing. But I mean, I don't know that I would have to chase it or anything like that. That's for sure. I don't see any reason to do that. It's pretty obvious what was happening here, that they just couldn't wait to get in it. So NVIDIA, there's not really much to say there. What's up, Marwa? Lumen, Sophie, Real, the REITs. What's up, Julian? A lot of people keep looking at this Lumen, don't you guys? That's so interesting. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there. I always look at these names when you guys, like when I start getting like 3 or 4 guys that are like super into a name and try to figure out. Whenever everybody gets that way and they start diving into it and they want to be involved with it, it always makes me wonder, like, why? And you'd be surprised how much, like, I can always tell that, like, when people aren't paying attention to a name or are paying attention to a name. It's very helpful, when I do this stuff. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there, but it's certainly something I'd be paying attention to. I think I own this in another account. I think I bought this back here. And then I don't know. I think I own this thing. I have an account where I just I'll buy like super long-term ideas that people bring up. I think this was one of them. Like a year ago. I don't know. I never look at that thing. I don't know, man. You got a lot of people here talking about this thing. A lot. I gotta look. There's something going on. I'm trying to figure out what it is. So there it is. So say it. You're already breaking out. You're already breaking out on the RSI. Sometimes I'll just look at stuff and then I don't even understand why I'm looking at it, but I'll see something. I think you're going to get back to that level. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but whatever. I do. I think you're going to head back to that level. See the negative divergence? So that's usually where you'll retest. So you've been this way since what? Since that break, right? Okay, so there it is. So this would be your first close above the value high since you broke it in January. I'd watch this. I'd watch it and see if you get that close. And if you went and took a look at this from back in the day, how far back does this thing go? All right. I mean, you got room. I mean, you got a lot of room here, like a lot of room. That's interesting. There it is again. You got a lot going on there, man. You might want to watch this one. Sophie, I think you're okay there. I'm really surprised that some of this stuff's not moving higher. The real, isn't this like a clothing store or something? Yeah, I mean, you look decent. I don't know. I don't know here. You seem to be breaking out and moving higher, and we'll see how this goes. And we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. I don't know that I'd be going goofy there. Oh, we weren't bonding. Yay. There's not much to say there, bro. I think you're just going higher. What's up, Aaron? CMI, CBNA. I really like the CBNA trade. This looks like just an absolute monster. Like this just doesn't get any classier. Say it. Test, test, test. Massive cup. Here's your little handle. I'm a teapot. Boom. Like this thing just looks like a freaking beast. Like look at this thing. I mean, really. Outright savage. So yeah, hands down. Definitely something I'd look at. What do you got, John? Thank you. What the hell's that? Now we lost the connection to it again. All right, so no more bonding. All right, so I would definitely keep my eye on this one. CBNA, I like that trade. I'm going to try and get through these fast and see what we come up with. Let's see here. Good morning from Miami. I like the home builders. I don't get it. How much is that? How much is built into that? My personal belief is these guys aren't going to know what hit them. Like they're just not going to have a clue what hit them. They're not really going to know what truly hit them when these things start coming up with earnings in about 6 to 9 months. That's how I feel about them. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think people understand the backlog and people wanting to get mortgages, the backlog on people wanting to buy a home. Like it's real. It might not be in like the hotbed markets, but people want to buy a home. So they want their own place. They don't want to rent, which I'm not going to get into whether or not you should or not, but RZLV. Yep. So the RZLV, I see these names. I would want to know more. I see the volume. I get it. I don't know why I would care about this, like really why I would care about this name. I'm not saying that I shouldn't care about this name. Stock located for possible short. What the heck did I short? But I don't know what I would care about this name, but to me, I need to know the story here, like why, especially these little guys. I got to know why. And I know they were playing this one in the room, but I don't know really why. So it's definitely something that's going to be on the radar. I like charts like this where you're basing for like a year and a half, and you had some news. Maybe they probably were like some kind of like SPAC or something, right? So yeah, I like stuff like this because they can tell a story like this open. Like this stuff will tell a story, and now this guy's going to do this or that, and he's coming back, and okay, they still don't have a business model, but okay. But I mean, it'll move the stock higher, but like that's why we always have to like learn this stuff because you can trade them, but you have to understand like this business model never worked. Like you're trying to buy homes and make it a real model. It's not going to work. Whereas there's some other names out here. Like, I don't know. Like, I think there's some other names out here, smaller names. Like, I agree with this guy left from Citron. Like, he's saying, if you're looking for these little guys, like this makes sense. Yeah, like Loan Depot, like that makes a lot of sense. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Thank you. I didn't know that, but I don't understand, Batman, like why it's not moving the way that it should be. I really don't know why that's not moving the way it should be. NBIS, Troy, I like the name. I just think that you moved way, way, way too much on that thing. You know, we've been playing this thing forever. And you know, it's just one of these names where it's been super, super hard to just kind of hold on to. But you know, it's just so wild. Some of these movements from 50 to 40, and then you know, you break out on earnings, you give it all back. Like it's not an easy trade. It's like, you know, you're buying it. It's just Jesus take the wheel. It's just not an easy trade. You know, it's a tough one. You know, and people don't get that about some of these names. Like it's very hard to stay in this with any size. So I always tell people when they trade this kind of stuff, just reduce the size and allow it to do what it's going to do, because at least you're in it. But if you're trying to stay in this with like a 10 or 20% position, like you're not going to have, there's some nights you're not going to be able to sleep. So, you know, it's not worth it. You know, you want consistency. You don't need to hit, you don't have to worry about your slugger percentage. What's up, Jacob? Maybe I'll go to Japan. I've never been to Japan. I always wanted to go. Arete and VST. So the Arete is super interesting to me, especially after you saw the reaction to AVGO, because I think that there's a portion of their business I really need to understand there, and I don't think I get it. So the Arete's super interesting to me, and I have to really learn this company, because the way they responded yesterday and not giving anything back is super interesting. And so like what I'm doing when I look at this stuff is going through how did names react to Oracle, right? So like if you start going through the names, because the buy side will have better analysts than the sell side. They always do. So if you start going through the names, they'll be like, oh no, you got to buy this one. And for whatever reason, when that news hit, if you start going through the software names and which ones they bought Arete. And I know it's tied in, but I don't know how. So, and I would tell everybody this, I'm going to get into it a little bit in tonight's video. You need to start understanding why these things are doing what they're doing, because this is not going to be a rising tide market, right? You've had rising tide markets before. This is not going to be that. This is not going to be a rising tide market at all. This is going to be very, very different. This is going to be a feast or famine market, and you can see it already. So, you know, we'll see how this goes. What is this thing you speak of? So I like the Arete trade, but but I like the Arete trade. I do. I like that trade. I don't know it enough. Like I know Oracle cold. I know AVGO cold. Like I know those stories. I think Arete should be in that category. It's super thin, but I do think it should be in that category, Troy. Jacob, sorry. VST, this stuff's I'm trying to wrap my noodle around this stuff. We seem more into these like speculative names than the names that are actually producing the power. I don't really know where I'm supposed to go with that. Like I think about this a lot, like I watched like the VRT yesterday and everyone's like, oh, GEV, you got to buy GEV now. Okay, maybe, right? Like maybe. But like some of this other stuff, man, when you start getting into like the VRTs and things like that, and the VSTs, I can't figure out like why these things aren't on fire, like just killing it. So I don't know. I actually feel like I'm better off waiting for some kind of like blow up and then going from there. I don't know why I would rush into that, dude. Just to be honest, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but every freaking time that I've like, oh, it's breaking out, I better get involved. Wham, Matumbo. Oh, look, it's breaking out. Wham, like I'm like, it's like whack-a-mole. So no, not today, Satan, not today. Yeah, the TLT is going to be interesting. Yeah, gold keeps hitting that fib. I do like the rocket trade. Let's take a look at the VIX. I mean, I don't see a reason to do a darn thing there. Back in the day. Yeah, you're right. Let's go through this. Dude, it's not that. You never know. You just don't know. People always make this assumption. Yeah, I mean, food's definitely higher. There's no doubt about it. Food's higher. There's no question about that. And this thing's just been killing me lately. Absolutely killing me. Maybe TradingView's got an update I don't know about. I mean, I see it. You just haven't really triggered it yet, have you? Like, you're hearing that divergence is definitely kicking in, but you're just not there yet. You're just not doing it yet. You're getting there, but you're just not there. Like, this is definitely that area where it starts getting super interesting to look at this thing when you're below here. Historically, it's worked out very, very well if you've done it. You know, it's given great opportunities over the past 2 years when it does this. I just don't have the trigger yet. And so the question is, do I buy 327 when I could be buying 290, you know? And I don't have an answer to that yet. So I think you're going to lose a lot of people because you have so many other things out there that you could buy now, like just buy like the ETFs and stuff, but it's not the same. They can go out there and do a convert whenever they want. Oil dropping, yeah, 100%. I think it's more than that. Now, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are going a lot higher, in my opinion. I own them, but I'm biased. Yeah, well, that spread's always been weird, hasn't it? I own this. I think it's gone higher. I think people have to understand that they're going to have to wait for the dilution so people actually know what they own. And you don't really have all the terms yet. He specifically does this. Like, I read about this dude. He specifically hides the full terms until he's ready to release them. And apparently he's done this in the past. So I don't know. I like it. I'm in it. I already pulled money out of it. But you know, I paid like 9 and change, mid to high 9s for the position, but you know, came in, it was at 19, sold some 14. So like, whatever. It dropped. You got to think it's going to trade above where the warrants are at some point, or else they're never going to do another deal with them. So, and the warrants are starting at 11.5. So I think you have to just give it time. Well, if you're over, like, you got to give that stuff time, man. Like, you have to realize that it's just, you know, and by the time the street knows it, how much do you know? You know what I mean? So I'm just going to look at these. This is super interesting because you're not the only person that's bringing this up to me. And I don't know. I got to look into this. I really have to look into this. Because there's something going on here clearly. And it's every freaking day. Like, it's every day. Like, it's not a little bit of buying, man. It's every day. So something's going on there. Well, I think a lot of people are concerned about, yeah, I know a lot of lumber names. Lumber will move higher eventually. No, they won't care. I don't think he could be wronger lately. I think he shut down. I think he shut down his fund, right? I think you're seeing a lot of insider buying there, or I'm sorry, a lot of dark pulls. You're seeing a lot of dark pull stuff there, like a lot of dark pull buying. I think they're worried. I don't know why they are. That they're doing more discounts than they normally do, but maybe it's going to be a flush and then they think it's going to bounce, but you're seeing more dark pull buying than normal in that name. Okay, maybe that's it. You know, yeah, I mean, everyone seems like super excited about this. Like, I get it. Like, if I'm the guy and I want to go there and try and turn the company around, cool. Like, maybe it works. I don't know. You got to fix the business model, man. Like, this idea that you're going to be able to go out there and people are going to sell you houses at a discount and then you're going to sell them for a profit is like, okay, that's like every wholesaler's dream. Like, and somehow you think you're going to do this and be able to compete. It's just not realistic. Doesn't mean the stock can't go to, $1 million when people squeeze it. Like, Telray went to $300 before going to $1 million. So it doesn't, like, if you just trade it on the fever of it, cool, keep doing that. But I mean, I'm going to do it. But to think that this is like a sustainable business model is really laughable. It's not scalable. It just isn't, you're never going to be able to do that. They're going to have to change their business model, and perhaps they will do it. AEO looks fantastic. Yeah, you're welcome. And just keep going through this. Anything else? I'm surprised they haven't. Yeah, I mean, the thing about like the put buying there, I get it because people buy it. Like I would be selling puts. So, and then we'll go from there. But I got to jump, guys. I'm late. Trade to win today.